Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. We're very happy to be here talking to the Sierra Club. Special thanks to Mary Riley and Steve Miller for inviting us. We're, thrilled to have another opportunity to talk to members of Sierra Club. You've always been a great supporter of the Clean Energy Program, and we know how dedicated you are to sustainability and energy efficiency. So it's especially critical right now that we're all doing our part for the environment, in this time of pandemic and the associated health crises, as well as, this era of economic and social injustice. So it's just really timely for us to be here talking to you all about our program. Just a quick housekeeping announcement. Please stay muted throughout the presentation because we have a lot of content we want to cover in a short amount of time. But if you do have questions, please put them in the chat box. We are going to do a Q&A at the end. We're also going to ask a few trivia questions. So we're going to ask you to get involved and use the chat box to answer some trivia, hopefully make it a little bit fun and interesting. And finally, we're going to be talking pretty quickly to get through all the information, and we'll share a lot of data and resources and links. You don't have to worry about writing anything down or taking notes. We're going to send all of the slides to Mary after the presentation tonight so she can share them all with you. So let's get into it. So as Mary said, my name is Keri Ann Lombardi. I am the outreach coordinator on the residential side of the Clean Energy Program. My job, basically, I work with environmental organizations, New Jersey corporations, industry alliances, educational institutions, and I organize and host events like this one to raise awareness about home energy efficiency and the Clean Energy Program. And today I am joined by my colleague, Gary Majira. So I'm going to give you an intro into the program and cover some background info, as well as touch on some policy stuff and a little bit about green jobs. And Gary is going to do the deep dive on our programs. So sit tight, a lot is coming up. So before we start talking about the program, we wanted to play our video for you. You may have seen this on shows like Saturday Night Live or Channel 12 New Jersey News, but this is our program video featuring our mascot, Chloe, the lightning bug. So this is going to sort of kick off the energy efficiency presentation today, and Chloe is going to light the way.
It's time to save, New Jersey. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program is your guide to rebates and incentives that can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars for businesses and residents throughout the state by making smarter energy choices. Start today with an energy assessment. We're lighting the way to a clean energy future. Join in at njcleanenergy.com or call 866-NJ-SMART.
Okay, so here's the agenda. What we're going to talk about today: home energy usage and how it's changed in the last year, the program background and highlights, a little bit about the Energy Master Plan and Green Jobs Overview, residential energy efficiency programs, and some additional ways to save. So we wanted to start today's presentation by taking a look at some data about what's changed over the last year in each of our homes that has sparked a new interest in home energy efficiency and created a higher demand for solutions and a need for programs just like those that we'll be talking to you about today. So, and obviously one of the biggest changes was the pandemic. Having had to work from home. In fact, since last year, 42% of the US labor force now works from home full time. 26% work on business premises, while 33% are still not working. Now, I'm happy to say that in the short time since I created this slide, that number's actually changed a little less. So more people are back to work. I didn't have an exact number yet, so I just kept this slide. I'm showing you the slide with the data that was created when I had reliable information from the Department of Labor that was about 4 months ago. But anyway, this has led to, all of us working from home and our kids going to school from home has obviously led to an increase in home energy usage. In fact, it's created about a 4 to 7% increase in residential power usage in the New York, New Jersey market. And that's gone to things like not only home office electronics and computers, but also, all day lighting and all day heating and air conditioning, even to using our kitchen appliances for lunch instead of, going to the employee break room or using the cafeteria. So that additional home energy usage has cost about $6 billion. Americans spent about $6 billion more on at-home power consumption from just April to July of 2020 than in previous years. And that $6 billion was spent on, the things I just mentioned. Home office electronics, all day heating and lighting, all day HVAC, but also home entertainment, streaming and home gaming and all those things. So specifically relating to home energy usage, it's about an additional 9% went to home computers and home office electronics. And in a few minutes, we're going to show you more about what you're spending on the big ticket items. So now, everybody, Netflix has become a household word for all of us, especially in the last year since we've all spent so much time inside our homes. We've gotten so, we've become big fans of our streaming TV. Well, Netflix, what has that done to our energy usage? Netflix consumes about 6.1 kilowatt hours of electricity. That's enough to drive a Tesla Model S for almost 6 miles, or to power an LED light bulb constantly for a month, or to boil a kettle once a day for nearly 3 months. Crazy energy gone to just Netflix. And home entertainment, gaming consoles, gaming energy usage equals about 10 to 11 billion kilowatt hours per year. And that's about $1 billion in annual electricity bills. That's the equivalent to the output of 4 large power plants, which is as much as the electricity in all the households in Houston combined, Houston being the 4th largest city in the country. So just the reason that I'm showing you this is because that might be something that we don't really think about when we think of, home energy usage. So the program background. It's administered by the New Jersey Clean Energy Program is administered by the Board of Public Utilities. It's funded by something called the Societal Benefits Charge. That is a little fee that's on all of our energy bills. Anyone who pays a utility bill in New Jersey contributes to the Societal Benefits Charge. And those little fees go into a big pool, and those monies fund this program and the rebates. The goals of the program are to provide education, to change behavior, to provide opportunity for all New Jersey residents to reduce their energy and lower operating costs, to protect the environment and lower emissions, and of course, to meet the governor's goal of being 100% clean energy by 2050. Okay, so getting to our 2050 goals, some folks are unsure as how we're going to get to that sustainable future. What can they do to help us get there? Well, we all know one thing. As we improve homes and businesses, structures in New Jersey and across the country with efficiency programs and code updates, higher standards and renewables, efficiencies will go up. And as that happens, the usage and the pollution for those buildings will decrease. And eventually we will have energy efficient homes and much lower pollution, emissions, and usage for everyone. So maximizing energy efficiency and conservation are some of the key strategies. So now before we talk about programs and energy efficiency, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. What do we mean? What is energy efficiency exactly? Well, very simply put, energy efficiency is using technology that requires less energy to perform the same function. And now it really can be as easy as this. Think about that quote there. The cheapest energy is the energy that you don't use. So doing things as simple as choosing a qualified LED bulb. LEDs use 90% less than the standard incandescent bulbs, or choosing a qualified smart thermostat. So, I just mentioned a moment ago that one of our program goals is to change behavior. This is a perfect example of how we can modify our behaviors to impact the environment. So by choosing an LED bulb or choosing a smart thermostat, we're making small changes to our behaviors today that can have a significant impact on our energy savings and on the environment by the end of the year. And all of this goes towards your participation in helping meet our program goals. And more on that in just a minute. But some benefits of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency improves health conditions. And that's especially important to all of us right now when we're spending so much time in our homes. Gary's going to get into some really good detail in a few minutes about how and why this type of work improves health conditions. So more in a moment. And also energy efficiency lowers energy costs, obviously. And that's especially true for people in low to moderate income households. And energy efficient projects are labor intensive. So increased energy efficiency projects strengthen the job market. And that's especially important to all of us right now because so many of us, as I mentioned, are still not working. Additional benefits are the reduction in our energy bills, improved comfort and safety. And again, Gary's going to talk about how and why that is in just a minute. And energy efficient projects are just one of the cheapest and easiest resources against the global climate crisis. So now we have many programs in place to meet the goal of being 100% clean energy, which include the things that you see on the screen: energy, education, energy conservation, energy efficiency, distributed energy resources, and of course, renewable energy. So I just want to mention that while we're not going to be getting into too much detail about renewable energy in this talk, I find that folks often ask about solar whenever we talk about energy efficiency. So I just want to make one broad sweeping statement, which I hope will become obvious during our presentation tonight. While solar is great by itself, it's even better when it's one piece of an entire energy efficient home paired with home performance. And together, it's a better way to reach our clean energy goals. So some of our program performance. When you participate in one of our programs, you are part of something big. In fact, in fiscal year 20, New Jersey's clean energy program processed over 141,000 applications. That means that over 141,000 people took advantage of one of our programs. And that's energy savings delivered through electric, gas, oil, and other efficiencies in generation. And we paid out over $145 million in incentives, rebates in fiscal year 20. So what does that mean to you? The program brings real world results, things that we care about. In fact, clean energy programs eliminated enough CO2 in 1 year to equate to taking over 159,000 cars off the road, or planting over 12 million trees. and 763,909 metric tons of greenhouse gases eliminated. So incredible results. And as I said before, when you participate in any of these programs, you're doing your part to do those equivalents, take cars off the road, excuse me, or plant trees or eliminate greenhouse gases. Now, just a little note here, some things are about to change. Many of our clean energy programs are going to transition over to the utilities. The ones that are, I'm sorry, excuse me, after June 30th, as of July 1st. The ones on the left are the ones that are staying with the clean energy program, and the ones on the right are the ones that are moving to the utilities. So some of the logistics may change, but the benefits of these programs and why you want to do these things, that will still be the same. If you want more information about the transition or how to get more information, you can visit our website there. The landing page is newjerseycleanenergy.com/transition. And obviously, as we have new information, we'll share it with you. So just a bit about the New Jersey Energy Master Plan. It had 7 strategies focusing on transit and building. And obviously the goal is to be 100% clean energy by 2050 and reducing state greenhouse gas emissions by 80% below 2006 levels were goals of the Energy Master Plan. And with the new administration, we have a new commitment and ambitious plans for carbon neutrality. In fact, President Joe Biden has called climate change an existential threat and has ambitious plans to make the US carbon neutral by 2050. So some of the proposals are listed there on the screen: $2 trillion to an accelerated clean energy investment development goal, and 100% clean transportation commitment, 100% clean energy economy commitment, and all to the goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2035. So we also have the American Jobs Plan. That includes $174 billion in spending to boost the electric vehicle market, and $100 billion in funding to update the country's electric grid, $213 billion to build, preserve, and retrofit more than 2 million affordable homes. And the American Jobs Plan will establish $27 billion clean energy and sustainability accelerator to mobilize private investment into distributed energy resources. So lots of new things coming under the new administration. There's also the Hopes for Homes Act and the SAVE Act. These are additional legislative priorities under the Biden administration to aid our energy efficiency improvement goals. So now I said we would talk a little bit about the green jobs and the clean energy employment. So just a snapshot here. There's not too much, but we wanted to touch on it. So in 2019, now that's the data that we have that's reliable. So that's what we're showing you. Solar alone employed more than twice the number of coal workers. Wind and solar accounted for nearly 2 out of every 5 construction jobs in the electric generation sector. And more Americans worked in energy efficiency than there are waiters and waitresses in America's bars and restaurants. Think about that. That's, as you can see on this slide there, 2.3 million worked in the energy efficiency sector, and there are just about 2.25 million waiters and waitresses. Who would have thought? And 2/3 of the US clean energy jobs, which is about 67%, are involved in construction and manufacturing. And as a result of the industry's consistent growth, clean energy accounted for more than 40% of America's entire energy workforce. and over 2.25% of the nation's overall employment. So it's a growing, booming industry, and that's especially important with all the emphasis on workforce development. So just a quick look there at some of the breakdown according to the Environmental Defense Fund. So you can see there that energy efficiency jobs were over 2 million. Grid and storage had almost 500,000. Renewable had just over 500,000. And clean vehicles had just over about 250,000. So a booming impact on the employment. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Gary Magier, to talk about the detail on our programs. Gary?
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me, Keri Ann?
We
What are
can't
you- hear you. Yes,
but
sorry,
not
Gary.
Keri Ann, yeah.
You
Yeah, I'm
can
gonna
hear me. Okay.
yeah.
You
So
scared
I'm
me
going
there
to
for a
stop
second.
share. Sorry, I muted myself.
I was pulling up some pictures I want to show that I forgot to tell you before about some of the houses that we've been in, some of the things we've seen, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, all right, here we go. So we're gonna go. Let's see. Make sure I got the right PowerPoint.
Don't forget to
This
click
one.
on the sound.
Let's see. So we gotta go. Screen share. It's checked, right?
Nice.
Don't worry if the video clip, we don't click on that, right? Share. All right. Can you see that?
Yep, we can see it. Now you just have to. Very good.
All right. That's me. So I've been doing this for about 22, 23 years. Work for a couple different utilities in the state of New Jersey on their energy efficiency programs. I've worked for some HVAC contractors, most of the work done on the home performance side with heating, air conditioning, insulation, and air sealing. I do this for fun. It's a lot of fun for me. So at the end, ask away questions. I've been in thousands of houses. I work with contractors, builders, electricians, insulators, plumbers. We run free training classes. 5 basic residential programs, and we're going to talk about a couple of them. No solar, as Keri Ann explained. A lot of people ask about solar, but the way I describe it is, and the solar contractors hate to hear this, but it's like taking a boat and your boat has 1,000 holes in it, and it's constantly leaking water. The more holes you get, you got to keep getting bigger pumps. Do you get a bigger pump or do you fix the holes? Well, the solution is you fix the holes and you get a smaller pump, which uses less energy, costs you less money. So that's the idea behind existing buildings. And this is what they're talking about nationwide. Like I said, I've been doing this for 23 years. I worked in one of the original programs back in the 90s with one of the electric utilities on sealing up houses. Back then it was like unheard of. You talk to an insulation contractor and he'd just look at you and go, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've never done that before. And we taught them how to do it the right way. In New Jersey, they've only been sealing up houses, new construction, for probably the last maybe 5 to 7 years. So I'll show you some pictures in a minute. We'll talk about it. But trivia question, what % of your energy bill goes towards heating and cooling? And I should throw in hot water, but I won't. Just for heating and cooling alone, what do you think the answer is?
You want to put your answers in the chat box? We'll just take a peek. Take a guess.
All right.
Anyone gonna guess?
No?
Okay, yeah, we got some guesses here,
Okay.
Gary. We got a C, and we got somewhere between C and D. Somebody guessed 75%. So I guess that would be a C, right? Yeah.
Actually, the answer, ding, ding. Actually, the answer is between B and C. B would be for heating and air conditioning. Now, this is not New Jersey. This is nationwide average. C, if you're throwing in domestic hot water, which really should be part of it. So you look at the pie, so 29%, 13%, and 13%. That's more than half that pie. If you add 42 to 13, that's 55%. And like I said, that's the average. So you get into extreme north and extreme south, those numbers will go up. But insulation and air sealing, and a lot of people talk about insulation. I was just talking in the beginning, before everyone came on, about my friends getting insulation. You get insulation just by itself. Insulation doesn't really do anything. It needs to be in a sealed cavity. In an attic, if you don't seal up all the holes underneath the insulation, the air just goes around it. When you go to pick up insulation in your attic, you'll see stains on it. Those stains are actually the air moving through your interior walls in the wintertime. Your house is like a hot air balloon. And we'll see some pictures in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, we'll in another minute or so we'll go to that. But insulation, air sealing, you got drafts. So what do? You fix the drafts. The Pink Panther is the pink stuff, the insulation. And have you been in your attic lately? That's where most of the air is leaking in the house in both summer and winter. So that's a cross section of a house. All those heating ducts, all the penetrations, electrical, plumbing, they're all holes cut in your house. And like I said, up until less than a dozen years ago, most of the new construction in New Jersey, those holes weren't sealed. You know, they just cut holes in the sheetrock, typically much larger than what they needed. Especially plumbers are notorious for that. And air just leaks. So you don't fix the holes, the air just goes around the insulation. So getting from here to there, how do we create a clean and sustainable future? We improve the air infiltration on houses. That's a start. That's the cheapest, most economic way to save energy in a home and in commercial buildings too, is to seal up the leaks. You do that, spray cans, there are professionals that are in our program that do it. You can go to our website, NewJerseyCleanEnergy.com. You can find insulation contractors on the home performance list that specialize in this, and there are rebates and incentives for it. That's to start. You air seal, you go around, you pick up the existing insulation and air seal. Typically it's two guys, one day in an attic, put the insulation back. And what they're doing is they're going for exterior walls and interior partition walls where the sheetrock meets the wood. And that's where a majority of your air is leaking, along with the penetrations. So this is a typical house that doesn't have proper air sealing or insulation. So the roof on the left, you can see the snow's melting. Could be because of the sun partially, but probably mostly because warm air is moving up through the building from the basement and the first floor into the attic. And it's melting the ice on melting the snow on the roof deck. So it rises up, comes up through the ceilings below, and condenses in the wintertime. If you have a lot of moisture, it's condensing on the inside of the roof deck and causing mold problems. You'll see a blue powder or white powder sometimes. That's actually mold growing. You should have that checked out. My first house is like that. The guy who owned it, he thought he was doing good. In the wintertime, he'd close off the gable vents and seal the attic. Well, guess what? He was sealing in all the moisture that was coming up from the first floor. So make sure those vents are open. Another thing is probably the vents, the ducts are not sealed, which typically up until 3 years ago, new construction, you didn't have to seal the ductwork. Now new construction, you need to seal the ductwork when you're building a new home. 20, 30, 40% air leakage in a typical air duct system. You have to size your air conditioner, your furnace larger just because you're leaking all the air. It doesn't make any sense. So there's a typical attic showing air leaks. And so our program contractor, you can get a home assessment done. Now, some of the contractors will do this. We're going to show a little video here.
In any
I'm going
season.
to pause for a second. The gas utilities offer energy audits at a reduced price. It's subsidized through the program. And when we get into the transition, like Keri Ann was talking about, all the utilities should be offering energy audits. They won't be for free. There will be a reduced cost, like I mentioned. That's the first step. Get an energy audit done on your home to do the analysis. And typically a house that's more than, say, 15, 20 years old is a good candidate. A lower efficiency furnace, lower efficiency air conditioner, air leaks, not enough insulation in the attic. Those are typical homes that would qualify for the program, but you need a contractor to come out and give you that analysis first. And then you could have the assessment done. And I think New Jersey Natural Gas offers it for like $49 or $59. It's a $500 job for a contractor to come out for 3-4 hours and do an analysis on your house. So take advantage of that, find out how leaky your house is, and they'll make recommendations, and then you can take it from there. There's a list of contractors on our website. There's about, Keri Ann, what is it, about 90? We have about 90 home performance contractors in our program.
Yeah.
So let's start that video again.
A leaky home costs money. How do you stop it? It starts with a comprehensive home energy checkup. That's a series of tests and inspections to find out where your house could be more efficient. The end goal is to save energy, save money, and make your house more comfortable. Installing energy-efficient lighting and appliances will help. So will creating a sealed barrier around your house, kind of like putting a blanket around the outside, minimizing the leaks. Upgrading your home to save energy can put anywhere from 5 to 30% of your energy bill back in your pocket. Okay, to get a thorough home energy checkup, you'll need some help from a professional. Look for a home energy technician called an auditor in your area. Now, in this cold weather evaluation, the auditor starts on the outside, looking for problems around walls, joints, and under the eaves. If there's not a tight fit, you're losing energy and money. Next, the technician might head up to your attic to check for leaks on the top of your home barrier. That trap door could be a culprit, letting cold air pass into the house. A big part of the checkup is determining how well the insulation insulates. Insulation should be correctly installed in between all areas of the house frame. That means it needs to be evenly applied and not just jammed into spaces. And of course, if the insulation has fallen down, it's not working. Your energy auditor will inspect the holes where electrical lines pass through. If they're not sealed, they're leaking. Then it's down to the basement. Your furnace and water heater could be wasting energy. The auditor will check to see how energy efficient the furnace is. Furnaces generally lose efficiency as they get older, and it could cost you more to keep yours running than to replace it with a new one. Maybe all you need is a new filter. Some people haven't changed their filter for months, even years. That gunk clogging the filter means your furnace has to work harder to heat your home. If the water heater is several years old, it may not be efficient. And if it isn't insulated, it's also losing energy. Now it's on to the ductwork. The technician will inspect connections to make sure they make a tight fit. They have to be sealed to keep the warm air going where it's supposed to go. If the screwdriver can go in the hole, it means one thing for sure: money is going out. Now for the blower door test. The energy auditor will close all the windows and doors and anything else that lets outside air in. This special fan will depressurize the home. The idea is to suck air out of the house, allowing outside air to rush into the home through all those openings you didn't know about. Okay, so with the windows and doors closed and the fan running, leaks are easy to spot with an infrared camera. In winter, the auditor will scan the interior of the home looking for cold air rushing in. Here, the darker the color, the worse it is. These black spots mean one big air leak. It's an eye-opening experience. For this house, the recessed lighting fixtures are big problems. The auditor will also take a look at the kinds of light bulbs in those fixtures. If they're incandescents, they're using a lot of energy. Warm, compact fluorescents are an energy-saving alternative. So, the home energy assessment reveals ways that energy escapes your home, costing you money. The good news is, you'll have a comprehensive home energy report showing which efficiency upgrades are right for you and where to stop those pesky leaks.
All right, so the actual punchline I never got to about solar was, you want to reduce the amount of energy that the building's using. So instead of needing 20 panels on the roof, you could possibly get away with 15 or 16. Like I mentioned, the solar guy may not like to hear that, but it's the truth. So, not only that, you're just wasting it. One of my neighbors is like that. He's got a hot tub. He's got all these things going on. And I told him, I said, have your house sealed up. And he thinks it's great because he's got the panels on the roof. But I told him, I said, you can be sending more electric back into the grid and getting paid for it if your house uses less energy. So it's just common sense. But home performance, by the numbers, home performance is a nationwide program. So there are more than 500,000 houses have been put through the program in the nation. In New Jersey, that 40,000 number is even higher. I think it's closer to 45,000 houses we've put through the program since the inception in 2007. And the rebates are tremendous. They're probably the largest in the nation. A lot of contractors complain about the program, but then I tell them, go to another state, you'll get almost nothing. New Jersey offers a lot of money, rebates and interest-free loans. We'll talk about in a minute. So home performance, what is it? It's the whole house approach. And the transition from our program, the clean energy program, to the utilities, they're going to be calling this the existing homes program. Older houses, that's how that is going to work through the utilities. Rebates and incentives hopefully won't change that much. The good news is that it sounds like most of the utilities, if not all of them, will be offering loans, interest-free loans, and not only for home performance, but for just replacing individual pieces of equipment. Both South Jersey Gas right now and New Jersey Natural Gas offer interest-free loans for replacing older equipment with high efficiency heating and air conditioning systems. So some of the benefits, and we talked about this at the start a little bit, I guess before everyone came on, but when you're sealing up your house, you're reducing the amount of dust and allergens. You're eliminating the stuff that comes up through your basement and your crawl space. Maybe not totally, but you're slowing it down. And in older homes, you'll typically never stop the air from coming in. You need fresh air. So what these guys do, the contractors test the house. They do an air infiltration test that you saw in the video before the job starts. They do the air sealing, insulation, and then they'll come back at the end and they'll do another air infiltration test to show the reduction in air leaking into the house. And what they're also checking for is to make sure there is enough fresh air coming in. There's a code for that. I think it's 0.35 air changes per hour. The only time I've seen an older home get too tight is when the contractor is using spray foam, and typically that's when you're ripping off the sheetrock and you're basically gutting the house. So it's going to make your house more comfortable, more even temperatures, room to room. You're going to size your furnace and your air conditioner properly. Most people don't realize most furnaces and air conditioners are oversized. Like I said, I've been in thousands of houses and I've done manual J calculations on these houses, and you'd be amazed. You go from 100,000 BTU furnace put in 1978 to a 40,000 BTU furnace that's 95, 98% efficient, multi-stage furnace, very quiet, ECM, variable speed motor, uses very little electricity compared to a standard motor. The results are amazing. And when I first started getting into it, it was hard to believe that you can actually reduce the size of the equipment. It's all done on computer software, not on a piece of paper like they did in the old days, rule of thumb. They wouldn't even measure a house. They'd say, oh yeah, I did a house down the street and it was a 3-ton and 100,000 BTUs. You got to do the calculations. It's actually code now when you replace equipment in the state of New Jersey. It's not like for like anymore. Just because you had a 100,000 BTU furnace 30 years ago doesn't mean you need a 100,000 BTU furnace now. The contractor's got to measure the house. They got to run it through the calculations, see how much insulation you have, what type of windows. You know, a lot of houses' windows have been upgraded, more insulation has been added, and the air duct system has been sealed up. So the house is using less energy. And like I said, most systems are oversized to begin with, and they don't run properly. Make the house very uncomfortable. They dry the house out. So the assessment, typically the contractor, you call the contractor, they'll come out. Now this is for the audit. They'll do combustion appliance testing. They'll do a visual inspection on the home, and they do the blower door test. That's the blower door on the left. It's basically a fan with canvas. It's got a frame in it. You close all the windows and doors in the house, and you will run the fan, and you'll have a pressure gauge outside measuring outdoor pressure and indoor pressure, a gauge on the inside with a sensor. And what you're doing is you're simulating roughly a 15 to 20 degree day with the wind blowing at 40 miles an hour. You know, worst case, you're setting the house up for worst case scenario. And you walk around the house and you show the homeowner, it exaggerates the leaks, and you walk around the house showing the homeowner where the leaks are. Some of the contractors use smoke pencils. So the air is leaking in, and you can actually hold the smoke pencil up and see the smoke blowing. It's incredible. The incentives for the program, they're up to $4,000 for a house that reaches the 25% energy savings level. So the contractor receives free software from the program. We teach the contractor how to use the software, and the program inspects the contractor's work. No one gets paid until the contractor's work is inspected by the program. And the loans are up to $10,000 at 0% interest. Typically, that would be $10,000 would be for say a boiler or a furnace, air sealing, insulation, which is mandatory. You need to start with air sealing and insulation, then go to the heating system, and then sometimes you can throw in the air conditioning system. So those jobs might range anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for a single zone. You know, one, say a ranch house, or could be a 2-story colonial, one furnace, one air conditioner. The loans, like I said, $10,000, 0%, 7 years. If you have a larger project, the loans are up to $15,000 at 0.99% interest. There's a program for multifamily projects. All right, we have some contractors that specialize in multifamily homes. Condos don't qualify for this. It's only townhouses. The reason condos don't is because the attic is owned by the association. In a townhouse, you own the attic. So you need to live in a building where you own the attic and the basement. But it could be 3 stories or less. We've done a lot of townhouses. And we're going to watch a video of a homeowner that went through the program. So here we go. Keri Ann is narrating here. Take it away, Keri Ann.
Hi, everyone. I'm Keri Ann Lombardi from New Jersey's Clean Energy Program. I'm here with Peggy from Manchester, New Jersey, who recently had an energy assessment done on her home. So Peggy, can you tell us what it is that made you decide to get an energy assessment?
Sure. I have been involved in energy efficiency for a long time, and I really believe that making a house as tight and efficient as possible is the best way to save energy. My house is a completely electric home, and it's very important to save energy that way.
So what kind of comfort or other issues were you trying to address with the assessment?
So by tightening up the house, it will reduce the drafts, and the ventilation is better. So those are the other things I was looking for, besides reducing my cost of my bill.
And what happened with the contractor? Can you tell us about the process?
Sure. The contractors were very professional. I was very impressed with them. They came and looked over the whole house. They went through the attic and the crawl space and did a blower door test, and really were very respectful of my time and didn't get in the way at all. And I hardly knew they were there.
And so did they provide you with a report?
I got a complete report, a very detailed report, pages and pages, and I went through it all and decided to have all of the work done.
Oh, you did all the work they recommended. That's great. So what kind of changes have you seen in your home's comfort since the assessment?
Well, as I said, it's much less drafty, so it takes care of all those problems. And the ventilation in the bathroom is just much better, less moisture in the bathroom. And my total energy bill was reduced by 50%.
50%. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I was amazed. I didn't expect it to be that good because I started a pretty low base point. I don't use that as much as a lot of other people do to start, but to have it drop by 50% was very happy. I was very happy about that. I also had a mini split installed, which is both for heating and cooling through the program as well.
That's fantastic. So Peggy, are there any other comments you could share with the listeners about New Jersey's clean energy program or the contractors or the program in general?
Yeah, just in general, I think it's an excellent program. Energy efficiency is the place to start. It makes so much sense because we need to reduce the amount of fossil fuels that we're using, and this is the way to do it. Make your house as energy efficient as possible.
Thank you so much, Peggy.
All right. Thank you, Keri Ann. Good job. So I've experienced that many times myself, being a salesperson, working for contractors. Comfort level was the most common response I used to hear from homeowners about the program. In addition, not so much the energy bills, even though they were saving a lot, they were amazed at the comfort level. And typically, like I said, you're reducing the size of the equipment, so your heating system runs longer, right, at a lower BTU level. So it's like a car on a highway. Instead of starting and stopping all the time, and it's you sweat and then it turns off and you freeze. It's running at a more you're not supposed to feel the temperature difference when the thing shuts off, and that's what happens with the oversized systems. You're either hot or cold, hot, cold. When you size them right, you don't feel the difference in temperature when it shuts off because it's actually run long enough to heat the rooms. And in the summertime, you're dehumidifying better. So when you dehumidify, you're making the air drier. You actually feel colder, and you don't feel the differences as much. It's not an oversized system, so it's size it's the right size for your building. So
Hi, everyone.
let's go down to the next one. This is air movement, like I mentioned, typically through the house, doors, windows. And it's not so much windows. People want to change their windows. Just to change like two windows in your house, 2 or 3 windows can cost as much as the insulation and air sealing in a house. You know, you might have 15, 20, 25 windows. You'll go broke, and it's not going to make that much of a difference, believe it or not. Most of the air leaks are, like I said, are on the second floor, or I should say the top floor, the ceiling. And then in the crawl space, not as much, but the idea is to stop or slow down the air in one part of the building, and mostly the top, because that's where the hot air leaves in the winter and the warm air comes in the summertime. So, whoop, that's that up there. So as we mentioned, most houses are leaky. Where do you think your house is leaking the most? And like I said, it's the attic, the floor of the attic, or the ceiling on the top floor. So what can you do? You can have your equipment serviced regularly, change your filters. This is all minor common sense stuff. Water heater. You can wrap your water heater in some instances. These are now the Warm Cool Advantage program is what we call the HVAC program. It's changing out individual pieces of equipment. Right now, the only loans available are through the gas companies. The electric utilities aren't offering that, but that might change during the transition. But they've doubled the rebates on heat pumps. I don't know if you're familiar with heat pumps. Back in the 70s and early 80s, during the gas crisis, they got a bad name. Heat pump technology was at its infancy back then. And honestly, most of the contractors that put them in did not know how to put them in. They weren't familiar with them. They didn't size them right. A lot of them were set up on electric backup so that when the temperature hit like 40 degrees out, 45, the thing would go to straight resistance heat and your meter would spin. They're very, very different now, especially the ones that are called cold climate heat pumps or ductless mini splits. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm sure you've seen these. They're very, very common now, not only in commercial buildings, but in residential usage. The contractors are selling these like hotcakes because of the incentives. So for a single zone system, one head on the inside and one outdoor unit, if it meets these efficiency ratings, okay, now this particular unit can heat your house down to 5 degrees outside without electric backup. It's incredible. The compressor technology has come so much further than the 1970s and 1980s. But for a system that meets these efficiency ratings, it's $1,000 rebate. If you have a two-headed, which way are we going here? I don't think we're showing a two-headed system, but if you have a two-headed system, 2 indoor heads or more, that gets a $2,000 rebate. Some of the contractors are saying it pays for the upgrade to go from a standard unit to a cold climate heat pump. So check those out. These are rebates on high efficiency furnaces and boilers, water heaters. This is a heat pump water heater. Actually, this is starting to become more popular. Residential bonus incentives. There's incentives for low moderate income and also urban enterprise zones. These are extra incentives on top of the rebates that are available. You have to qualify these. You can go to our website if you want to check this out. We have information on how to contact people and see if you do qualify for these. Low moderate income, actually, I think it's up to a family of 4 can earn up to close to $105,000 and qualify. They do need to see a copy of your previous year's tax return, and that's usually sent into the institution that's doing the review. The review process just takes a couple days. Like I said, you can go to our website, get more information on that. And then there's some bonuses for, I should say, extra incentives for affordable housing. What can you do to reduce your energy usage? I mean, you can do simple things as little as change out your thermostat. Some of the utilities are offering thermostats like the Nest at reduced costs. I think New Jersey Natural Gas was offering it for something like $100 not too long ago. I mean, to buy these are $300-400 items. And I think they'll install it for you too. You can check with the utilities on this. You'll usually see these offers in some of your bill inserts. Wash clothes at 30 degrees. You know, most laundry detergents now, you can wash your clothes in colder water. And dryers have sensors in them now. When they dry their clothes, they operate on a sensor. So when the clothes are dry, the unit shuts off. It doesn't keep running. Or you could hang your clothes outside like my mother used to do on the line. That was fun. I used to go out there and have to take the clothes off the clothesline. That was one of my jobs growing up. Switch to LED lights. They're much more efficient than compact fluorescents. They're safer. They don't contain mercury. You turn these on, even when the weather's cold, they're instant on, not like the compact fluorescents that used to take sometimes minutes. You could go out for a cup of coffee, come back, and the thing still wouldn't be warmed up. If you had it in a outside fixture or in a garage. So check out the LEDs. We sponsor a program where the LEDs can be bought at reduced costs. You can go to the home centers and check out. Usually you'll see the New Jersey Clean Energy sign with some of the reduced costs. The bulbs are being subsidized through the program. There are appliance rebates. We have a team of appliance people that go out to the home centers and teach the salespeople on how to sell energy efficient appliances and qualify the appliances for the rebates. I hear a lot from homeowners, they buy the piece of equipment and then ask if there's a rebate for it. What they should be doing is ask the salesperson which units qualify for the rebates first. So you'll even dehumidifiers now, room air conditioners, there are rebates for those. Appliance recycling, this is a big program. You can schedule your old inefficient refrigerator or freezer to be picked up. You can go to our website and there's a calendar. Right now during COVID, we're not going into the houses like we were before. The refrigerator or the freezer needs to be put out at the curb, but you can schedule that. We'll pick it up and send you a check for $50 for each. So if you have 2 refrigerators, it's 2 times $50. In addition to that, we'll pick up old room air conditioners or dehumidifiers, and there's a $25 rebate for those. The key is that they need to be picked up with the freezer or refrigerator. They won't come out for just a window air conditioner and dehumidifier. So you can schedule those. And the good thing also is the appliances are recycled. In some cases, I believe some of the refrigerators and freezers, the ones that can be repaired, are donated to Habitat for Humanity. So more actions, curtains, right? Sun is your friend in the wintertime, but in the summertime, you close the curtains so the heat doesn't come in. And you'll see a dramatic change in the amount of heat coming into your rooms if you close the curtains. Avoid leaving the appliances on standby. Smart power strips. You can see these at some of the home centers. They've got sensors in them. Comfort Partners program is an income-based program. You can check that out on our website. Sometimes you'll see bill inserts from the utilities about this program. And then we have the Clean Energy Center on our website. You can check that out. A lot of good educational tools on there, and there's some courses and videos. Trivia question. So which of the residential programs offers up to a $4,000 rebate and 0% financing up to 7 years? Let's see who's paying attention. You can put that in the box. Oh, Keri Ann, chat box.
Let's see if anybody guesses. You have to show them the options, Gary.
Aha.
Click through the. There we go.
All right, there we go.
So what do you all think? Very good. We're getting some guesses here. We're getting some D's. Couple of D's. An A and a D.
I want to hedge my bets here.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
There's one B.
All right. So the answer is Home Performance Program, AKA it's going to be known, like I mentioned, as the Existing Homes Program. So check that out. That's going to be run through the individual utilities. Shouldn't change that much. Stay in contact with us about some of the changes during the transition. We should know more in probably 2, 3, 4 weeks. You'll see that information on our website. And there's our contact info.
I also have some additional handouts that Mary, when I send you the slides, I'll include those. Some tips and tricks and some info on LEDs. But we wanted to give you the chance to ask questions. Let's see. I'm going to look in the chat box, Gary. I saw a couple of questions. So here's a sort of comment / question. Please be sure to discuss the use of cold climate heat pumps here in New Jersey for home as well as for swimming pool heater?
Well, I can address the home. Like I said, it's typically now being used in areas like attics that have been converted to rooms for both heating and air conditioning. Can be used for a basement, but I wouldn't get a cold climate heat pump for basement. I just get a standard ductless mini split, and that will dehumidify your basement if that's what you want to. I'm sorry, I should say heat your basement, because your basement doesn't take much to heat. You know, the ground typically is 55 degrees on the walls during the winter time, so it doesn't take much to heat your basement. Heat pumps can be used for, this person's right, for heating your swimming pool. That's going to become more common. If you're going to keep your pool for a while, it's going to save you money versus a natural gas heater. You can use, in some cases, hook up solar panels or just have panels dedicated to heat water. One of my neighbors did that where I used to live, had a pump, sent the water up to the roof, came back down, supplemental heat for the pool, sunlight's for free.
Thanks, Gary. Jeffrey, did you have a question? So you had your hand
I
raised.
did. It's not directly related, but close. I get a lot of mailers from Clean Choice Energy and maybe one or two others that offer that kind of clean energy source. Have you guys had any experience with that in terms of their honesty, the rates, and how those kinds of programs are working out over time?
What, I'm sorry, Jeff, what were they trying to sell you?
Well, it's the 100% renewable energy source. So instead of using JCP&L, they're still the delivery.
Oh, it's a third party supplier.
Right.
Yeah, buyer beware on those. I got stuck with those when they first started.
That was my question.
Because the fine print will get you in some cases. It got me. I saved like, I don't know, 15, 20%. And then at the end, there was a little line that said it could take up to 8 weeks to cancel. 8 weeks, or I forget what it was, 3 months to cancel the contract. And of course, once that hits at the end, that rate goes up. And it went above the rate I was paying for electric was much more than what my utility was charging. And it wiped out what I saved. And
Right.
and they didn't, of course, they didn't cancel me out until the last minute. I thought that was a sin. Honestly, I'll never do that again. That's me personally. The problem is they're not regulated by the BPU.
Yeah.
They're third-party providers. It's a third-party electric provider. One of the things that actually, I live in Toms River in Ocean County. A few years ago, I knew the purchasing agent, and they went out for bids on a bid for a block of electricity for the entire town. They purchased it at a reduced rate, and they were guaranteed that rate for, I think it was 2 years, 2 years or 3 years. They just discontinued it not too long ago.
Mhm.
So we were getting, I think, a 10 or 15% reduction over the local utility, which is Jersey Central Power and Light. And it worked out. And there was no funny business on that one at the end. And their rate went up, and the town said, sorry, we're pulling out of it. And everyone went back.
That's what's interesting, is that you had your town behind it, so you didn't
Right.
have the individual homeowner having to struggle and deal with it. But
Yeah, you could check with your local municipality, and maybe with whoever your electric provider is, Jersey Central or PSE&G or Atlantic Electric, and find out more information on that. That's the way to do it when you
Right.
have the town behind it.
Exactly. I
But
agree.
it worked. In the beginning I was skeptical, but I said the reason I went to it, I knew the purchasing agent. She worked for the town, and she was she was the one actually was going out for the bids, and it worked out well for everyone.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that insight.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
I got another non-related question, Gary.
Please.
Sure.
Don't know if you're a pickup truck driver, but there was a big splash on Ford having the electric pickup, the F-150.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, the
Okay.
announcement. Yeah.
So here's my thought on that. Although it's not related to home energy audits per se, but you could use that as a home generator or as a backup generator.
I did hear that. Yeah. I think it was, what was it, 3 days or something? It was amazing the
Yes,
amount of
if it's fully charged.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
I
Yep.
would think a lot of folks who use pickup trucks would be very interested in that.
Oh my God. Right. Sure.
Well, what does it cost for a backup generator? 10,000, 12,000?
For a ranch house, if there's a big difference between a whole house generator and one for just like basic appliances. You
Right.
can get like an I've a portable 8 kW, and it'll do one of my air conditioning systems, a furnace, refrigerator, a couple strings of lights in the house, to get us through.
Right.
You get a whole, that might cost, for a natural gas one installed with the contractor, could be 7,000, 8,000. And for a whole house one, you're talking usually 12, 15,000 minimum.
Right. Okay,
And
very good.
The expensive part is running the gas line. You got to upsize your gas line. You got to, the utility will change out your meter for free, because typically you need a larger meter to handle the amount of gas coming through. Yeah, the gas line, because it's manual labor, running a new, unless the ideal place to put it is if you can get it near the gas meter and the electric panel, so you don't have to run a line too far.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So more of a comment. I want to emphasize this power strip that you sort of brushed by. I've had my television and especially my cable box and some other stuff that's hooked up to the TV all on one power strip. So you turn that off, the whole thing is off. Those cable boxes, at least Comcast, they're like red hot all the time.
Tell me about it.
If you're not going to watch television, you're just heating your house, and then if you use air conditioning, you're using air conditioning to get rid of it. So if you're not going to watch television, turn the damn thing off. And the only way to be sure is that's it.
Well, when we had the older boxes, my wife used to yell at me because this is my job. This is what I do. I'm curious. So I have a little thing. It measures how many watts the thing is using, how many amps. And I forget, it was like 60 watts it was using, just the one. And now we've got multiple boxes. The problem is if you it runs off of one main one now. And if you shut that one off, everything's got to boot back up. And that was a problem too. I kept shutting it off so much, it destroyed the box. The box, I guess it was a starting mechanism. I was back at Comcast twice. They looked at me like, what are you doing? I didn't tell them, but it was from turning it on and off all the time. Since then, I haven't been doing it, but you are right. If it works off that, I was thinking about that because I was telling Keri Ann, I have a couple of those power strips at home. But yeah, think about it. At night, what, you're sleeping 8 hours, 9 hours, it's not on. So as long as it boots back up in the morning, you put a timer on it, right? Boot the strip back up again.
I don't know. We have the TV off for more than most people, so it might be off for a week.
I have one of those guns that measures temperature, like when you go into the doctor's office, it's a laser, you shoot at someone's head and you can get the temperature reading. The other day I was playing around with it and I was measuring the heat coming off of the big screen TV. It was 100 degrees.
Wow.
It heats our room in the winter, so the furnace doesn't come on in the rest of the second floor. My daughter's freezing down on the other side because the stupid TV's on, it's heating the room. So I got to open up the door and the two doors in the room to get the heat out of it. Yeah, it uses a lot of energy. It's just wasted.
Yeah.
Great for heat if you want to heat the house that way.
With electricity.
Yeah. Anything else?
Okay. No, that's it. But I would like to just say, I'm going to put a link to our events calendar in the chat. That will have all of our upcoming webinars. We have webinars and trainings. We don't have as many right now as we normally do because of the transition. You know, things are sort of, some things are a little bit under, you know, in flux. However, there's a lot of good stuff coming up. Also, we might be doing one very soon in the next couple of weeks on solar and community solar specifically. So if you really want more information about that, I will share the link to register for that with Mary and Steve so they can pass it along to the rest of you.
Thank you, Keri Ann. So there's our contact information. Anyone wants to call me, feel free. You want to email me? This is my job. I have fun doing it. You can call me on the weekend if you want. I love answering questions. It's a lot of fun.
Very passionate in a world of knowledge. Mary, I think Mary might have had to drop off, but Steve, I just sent the slides to both you and Mary. Okay,
And,
great.
I do have to drop off,
Yep.
but everybody, you'll get the slides. And we also have recorded this, so if there's something you want to play again, we'll send you the link as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having us. Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
same
Mary.
here. Yeah, really
Okay.
nice meeting you, Gary, and thanks a lot, Keri
Yep,
Ann.
we'll see you guys again. Okay.
Take care, everyone.
All right,
Bye.
thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Keri Ann. Yeah.
Sure. Bye.